Hey everyone, I'm Braden Cruz, your host with Sooner Marketing Solutions, and my job is to figure out ways to get you attention.
Abel Rodriguez with ARC Outdoorsman, where we are creating and maintaining your outdoor living.
Chance Jones with Threaded Industries, where we are a clothing brand built upon giving back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Brews Business. I'm your host, Braden Cruz, streaming here in the Blue Studio. I have today some special guests. We're missing Abel and Chance today. They're in Las Vegas right now, not for fun, but for work. They're out there picking up a couple vehicles and bringing those back here to Oklahoma. So,
I'm sure it's a little fun.
Yeah. I'm sure they're having a little bit of fun, right? Yeah. Today's episode is about revolutionizing social media content with our featured guest, Christopher Claflin, if I said that correctly. Correct me here in a moment if I didn't.
Claflin, yeah.
Claflin, cool. Colton Richardson is back in the studio. How are you, Colton?
Doing great.
Glad to have you back. And two of my team members are here, Maria and Maddie. How are you, ladies?
Great. Doing good.
Yeah, so revolutionizing social media content. Christopher, introduce yourself. Tell me a little bit about what you do, how you do it, how long you've been into it. Like, what's your day-to-day like? Hit it.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Okay. People, what am I doing? I help brands and businesses create better content that's going to convert. That in a nutshell is what I do right now. I haven't always done this. Like, my background is actually in software development. But when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a director. So like the whole Hollywood thing, making movies. All my parents and the parents of my friends were like, you can't do that. You're going to lose your soul. That doesn't lead to happiness. So I was like, okay, I'll be a dentist. So I went to school for that. And like one thing led to another. And I am very entrepreneurial. So I started a bunch of businesses, and websites are expensive. So I was like, I'm not going to pay the thousands of dollars that it takes to design and develop a website. So I started doing that myself. And it's like all those businesses failed, but out of that came the web development and software development business, built a team, scaled that up. It went nuts during COVID. And then after that, the business imploded. That's like a whole nother story. I've lost my life savings a couple times. But now content creation is the thing. Cause I've been doing video since I was a kid, like trying to make it on YouTube and all these other platforms. And when TikTok hit the scene in 2020, like when it really became popular, we had been building apps similar to Facebook, Instagram, Bumble, social platforms. And so I was like, oh, like I know how this works on the back end. I know how to create good video. Let's throw some tests against this like new platform and see how it works and why. And it was like, that was the right point in time for everything that I had done in the past to just like all come together. And it was like an amazing fit. And I'm like really lucky that it's worked out because I love what I do and have gotten some really amazing like results for not only myself, but like clients that I've worked with and businesses and stuff. And so
my boys are all about YouTube,
brands,
man. Like they are like all about the next creator and stuff. And, and I'm probably sometime this year or next, they're 8 and 9. So before I get too much into like nice camera equipment,
your boys, not your boys like the crew at work.
No, like my actual sons. Yeah. So I've got 2 boys.
I thought we were talking about the people in the room.
No. So they're all gung ho about like the YouTube videos and such, and they're like talking. You know, they talk about some of the top creators and stuff on that platform, and specifically gamers, right? Like Roblox and Fortnite and Pokemon and stuff like that too. And I want to actually get them a camera that they can share. And this was a couple weeks ago. I brought my phone somewhere. We were outside and they were like, "Hi guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Cole and I'm David. Today we're going to do something." They just started like wailing on each other. And that's about it. But it's funny. You made the comment about how like since you were a kid, and it made me think about that.
Yeah.
Starts.
Yeah. I mean, back then it was like the shoulder camera that a big VHS tape goes into. So it's
you remember the Zoom?
It's awesome that your kids your kids can hold the camera in their hand and do so much more now than even if you had a budget back in the 90s and early 2000s, like you couldn't do anything back then. Yeah, it's a totally different world. It's really cool that they're getting into that.
I had an idea about getting them some GoPros and just strapping it to their foreheads, and then that's their YouTube channel. The view of an 8-year-old just doing whatever it is. Yeah, time lapse it.
Yeah.
Try to crop out some of the conversations. People like go crazy about just weird, unique things that have like no point, but they're entertaining, right? Kind of leads on to
it's weird. Like, I mean, mukbang and ASMR, like those are entire like categories now that who would have thought that like, I'm going to set up a camera and record myself eating some noodles would have blown up.
And you know what's funny is like there's people or companies who make a living doing that, not just from their channels providing them with a source of revenue, but like that's how they're selling their products.
Yeah.
With like, they're making that kind of, I'm going to sit here and eat the different styles of soup, and they sell soup or whatever it is, right? Or little Hot Wheels cars. Maybe they sell custom Hot Wheels cars and they're sitting there playing with them and put them on tracks. And they're like, hey, can I buy that Hot Wheels car? Like, yeah, how much is it? It's $30. Okay, cool. And they ship it. I don't know. There's weird stuff like, what's the real popular one? It's not glue. It's slime. Dude, slime. That slime right now is wild. Like, I sit there and I watch slime videos. It's cool how they get creative with it. Like they put like little toys and like shapes and smells or whatever in them. I haven't bought one yet, but I was thinking about it.
So how effective is that marketing if you don't have a big stack of slime bottles at your house?
It's true. That's true. So you were getting into TikTok kind of when it first came out. I did too. What do you think that you did to kind of make it hit? Like was there a specific moment where you were like, oh man, this kind of video content's working for me and I got to keep doing whatever this is? Or was it just, did it just kind of fall into it?
A little bit of both, but as I fell into it, I recognized what it was from a product standpoint. Cause we were building, I wouldn't say any apps similar to TikTok, but mobile apps, a lot of them with social elements. And the thing about, like, I don't know if you guys, has anybody here seen The Social Dilemma?
Yes.
The documentary. Yeah. I mean, the entire industry, like all of these products, the apps that we use, they're like driven by dopamine and cortisol hits. Like it's all chemical reactions in the brain. And so when we started, like, I just started playing around with TikTok, and it was like my 7th or 8th video went viral. I hit 2 million views. And back then there was nobody really creating on the platform. So that like was like 25,000 followers in like a couple days. And I was like, oh, like maybe there's something here. So we started testing like different approaches to see what would elicit a response. And like, that's when like all social media sort of clicked for me. 'Cause as the web development and software development had started to ramp up, YouTube and Instagram and trying to build a following was just sort of like a back burner side project because I had a business that was working here. But then when that blew up, I was like, okay, like maybe I have a better chance than I thought I have in the past. And it was really obvious that like the mechanisms that drive what works on TikTok and now YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, like the short form video like concept, is totally different than traditionally what Instagram and Facebook were and what YouTube is and what Pinterest is and Twitter. Like we lump all these things in together as social media, but they're different. Like TikTok is not social media, it's outreach media. Because like your For You page is full of content, like you're scrolling through content that's been produced by strangers. And what I had been producing for YouTube and Instagram was that, but on Instagram and Facebook, like it's a social platform. So prior to TikTok hitting the scene, your feed is just full of people that you follow. So what I had been producing like didn't work because it was like my aunts and my friends, like what is Chris doing? And then on YouTube is the same way. So like YouTube's a search engine. So like the content that I was creating and I wanted to get big, it's really hard to do that if it doesn't fit a specific search query that somebody's putting into the engine. And so my stuff wasn't being found and it wasn't very good because like when you first start out, like your stuff is shit. So, but anyway, yeah, like
That's another
like
large
right place,
conversation
right time.
about how people don't really understand how the different platforms work. Like what goes. So some people will argue like Gary Vaynerchuk will be like, you need to be everywhere, right? And of course he has a whole production team just for his stuff, you know. But they almost kind of curate the content for whatever goes on TikTok. It's kind of its own style, and even though that same conversation will be applied to a LinkedIn video, it's going to be maybe some different verbiage or different style or different different format or different size, right? Same thing with YouTube. Whenever they publish it to YouTube, it's going to be search engine optimized. So whatever the title or caption is going to include, or even specific tags, is supposed to help that video show up in search results.
Yeah. Yeah. Gary Vee gives some interesting advice to the masses. Cause like you said, it's framed for like, I mean, he's coming from the perspective of somebody that has a whole crew.
He made
what do you guys,
you need to post 12 times a day. And I'm like,
yeah. What did you think when you heard that?
Yeah, I'm like, okay. Well, hold on. It could happen. It could be doable, but you have to batch it. Okay, so you got.
Do you guys post? How many times a day do you guys post?
I post about 1 to 2 times a day.
I try for one. I've been bad lately.
But that's because I batch mine out in advance. So like I'll build a bunch of content, and even if I record it in the same shirt, same settings, same context, I won't post it all back to back every day. I'll spread it out over 60 days. So now I've got gaps in my calendar that I'll continue to fill with whatever it is. And if I can post more than once a day, then that just has to have been something that happened right then and there.
Makes sense.
So now I'm kind of like always ahead of the curve.
Wise.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what we do here whenever we're trying to help out small businesses gain some outreach on whatever platform it is we try to get ahead of that curve and try to get creative on what kind of content we could publish over the next 30 days or, you know, trying to plan ahead for what's happening the following month, things like that. So what is the old school style of content look like to you guys?
Newspapers and radio spots.
Traditional style marketing. I get some people that are like, oh, can we put this on TV? And I'm like, do you really want to pay TV? Do you really want to pay $35, $60 a CPM when you could do that on Facebook for $4?
I see some bad lawyer commercials on TV. Real bad.
What was the one where the guy it was a really catchy phone number and they were super cheesy commercials. He did one where the dog was talking. Do you remember that one?
Jeff Martin?
Jeff Martin.
The heavy hitter?
The heavy hitter.
That's not me.
What's an old form style of content you guys think about? Or marketing or advertising? Billboards?
I think you pay a lot and you don't, it's a hit or a miss because you don't know how many people will actually leave from that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd say TV probably.
You think TV?
Yes. Not like Netflix per se and like Hulu. Like advertising there I think would be better than advertising just on like cable.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Depending on your audience though. If you have an older audience, it would probably work, but.
So you think TikTok really caused that shift in trends and the way that people consume content? Do you think that really happened like about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago? TikTok's about 4 years old. And so it took a couple years, I think, for it to really take off because people are like, oh, this is just a dancing platform. And that's how it kind of started, was people just being people. But then people started creating different styles of content and it transitioned to where it's like, oh, no, this is for creatives and musicians and artists to gain some recognition on their skills, right, and their talent. And I've heard of plenty of people gaining recognition on especially TikTok, to where they'll sing for months making TikTok videos about their voice, and then all of a sudden now they get picked up, you know, by recording stations. There was one guy, hold on, I'll look up his name, and if I find his name, I'll let you know who it is. But there's this big country dude, and he got famous from TikTok, making videos and such. I'll find his name and I'll let you know. But you think that happened? Really?
Talk, is it?
No,
I am Talk.
No, he's
no?
It's funny. It's something Jello something.
Okay.
It's this nickname that he goes by. At least on TikTok, that is.
I haven't seen that one.
I got to show you. So you think the shift happened about a couple of years ago, right? And people are still like in their old school methods.
Well, I mean, the shift has been coming. Like most of these platforms like have a 7 to 10 year life cycle before they sort of start to get old, and like the newer generation of kids in high school is like, I don't want to be on Instagram because my parents are there. It's like, this is like a repeating cycle. But yeah, in terms of like what TikTok is, like the shift happened in 2020 because that was really the birth of outreach media. Because prior to that, Instagram and Facebook, your feed's full of people that you chose to follow. And like, yeah, you got the discover page and everything. But like when I log into the app, I expected to see like the people that I want, and artists and creatives and celebrities that I want to keep on top of. It's like, that's your feed. But then TikTok in 2020, like the whole world's going through the pandemic, and the For You page is just full of interesting things from around the world that resonate with like large groups of people. And so it's the place where you can create a piece of media, and if it resonates with people, it's on millions of people's For You pages. So like, yeah, to your point, whether you're an artist or a content creator or a photographer or a director or an actor, or you help people with their content, like it becomes the most effective form of free, in quotation marks, free marketing in the history of the world. Because like, if you think about like when a post used to go viral, you'd see it on Facebook or Instagram or even MySpace because your friends or your uncle or your brother was like, oh, you got to see this. Or they like text it to you. Like that's how these things get around. Like we're sharing them with each other. But TikTok's algorithm like cuts out that middleman. And they just make sure that what is resonating with large groups of people wind up in their For You page. So it happens faster and to a greater degree. So like if you're creating good media, like entertaining stuff or in your space, like you can enter the public consciousness faster and better at a scale that just hasn't been done before. And yeah, I think like for sure TikTok is because if you had told people like in 2018, hey, in a year or two, there's going to be this app that hits the scene that makes YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest completely change their business models. That's more true for some of those platforms than it is for others, but you'd be like, get out of here. Like the space is mature. We have our like social, like the next thing is crypto or AI or whatever. But like TikTok came along and like Instagram and Facebook are still, I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you feel like I feel like Facebook and Instagram, the anxiety from those companies, the meta companies, is tangible on those platforms. Do you guys agree?
They're panicking.
They're panicking. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels this way.
No,
like I think that like someone actually said this not too long ago, to where they're like, man, all of a sudden like this happened just recently where I get on my Facebook feed and now like almost every 2 or 3 posts is an ad, and I'm like, okay, well, imagine. Well, you said, okay, maybe you said it.
I was talking to you about that like 3 days ago.
Well, maybe you and a couple other people said it too, because I heard it from a complete restoration guy too, and he was like, I don't know, it's just so annoying because like I don't want to go on there and see ads. I want to go on there and see my friends or my family or my people, right? And I was like, okay, well, why would that be? I think Facebook's really hurting because of their whole meta switch they tried to do with the metaverse thing, which crashed and burned, in my opinion. Like, I don't have a bunch of friends that are wearing goggles or glasses or headsets and working in the metaverse. We tried that and that was cool for a minute, but then it's just not feasible. Like I can't get clients in here, or I can't ship. I heard of some people shipping those headsets, those Oculuses, right? And they would say, hey, put on the Oculus, you'll log in, you click on this app, and then you can watch the video that we made for you or whatever. Or you can go and scroll through your website. Like they'd make some cool custom program apps. But I think that crashed and burned. And the reason why like they're trying to show more ads is because they need to show more revenue. And if they can show these businesses more impressions, more reach, and more, even if it's not engagement, because a lot of businesses don't really understand it's too late. Like a lot of them just want to see the big numbers. How many people did we reach? How many impressions did we have? A lot of them get really fancied about that. And so I feel like that Facebook, if they can show them, hey, look how many people you're reaching. Look at all this, blah, blah, blah. Then it's like, okay, well, now they want to advertise more and they can recuperate the revenue that they've lost. That's my whole thought process through that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a brand and a product without a clear direction. Definitely feels that way. I mean, even now, like, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but if you go to somebody's profile, like if we went to Maddie's personal profile and like started stalking, there would be ads in the personal profile. Have you guys noticed this?
Really?
Like that's sacred.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Like what the heck?
I've got
like
to Instagram.
When I first realized that, on Instagram. Sorry, not on Facebook, on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd be scrolling through and I'd be like, they posted this? And then I'd see it was an ad and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. It is. It caught me
Super
off guard.
weird. Uh-huh.
Gosh.
Happening stories, and every 2 stories you have like 3 ads.
Yeah.
Man. It's getting wild. And that's why I think that like the future might not be about paid media because it's becoming more expensive to do and less effective because of this. And Facebook and Instagram's missteps aside, in terms of like being able to build a product that everybody's still happy to use, because most people are not. They're not happy with it. Most people, at least most people that I talk to, like I never use Facebook. Like I'm on there like 2 or 3 times a year, maybe. Instagram, I spend maybe a minute or 2 on it a day, and everything else is TikTok because like that's where the good stuff is. Or Twitter, because it's basically a news feed. I like Pinterest, but what made Instagram and Facebook cool is kind of dead because they dropped it to try to be what these new platforms are. But instead of trying to like make what they had that was working better. And what I think is really interesting in the space as a whole, on top of that, you have the whole iOS 14 thing. So if you're running paid ads, it's more difficult. And for people that don't know, iOS 14 is the update that every Apple user gets on their phone when they download. Like this isn't the only thing in the update, but this is like the big change with that update. You download a new social app and it'll ask you, do you want to allow this app to track your data and usage across other apps on your phone? So translation, you just downloaded Instagram. Do you want to allow them to see what you're looking at on Pinterest, Twitter, on your browser? And everybody says no. And what that does is like the data that Instagram and Facebook had been collecting on people up until that point that had Facebook and Instagram on their phone, they were able to see what you did across other apps and in your browser so that they could serve you super specific, hyper-targeted ads. And now they only have data that they're collecting on your behavior within their platform. So it's more expensive to run ads, less effective because you know less about who you're targeting. And what's really just like crazy is outreach platforms like TikTok. And like, it's worth noting, like Instagram has an outreach mechanism within their platform because they introduced short or reels. YouTube has it in the form of shorts, but TikTok, like that is the platform. So you can reach people organically because the algorithm there knows who to pair it with. And that's the entire business model, is to just like show people things that the algorithm has determined is going to be a good fit. And they do it better than anyone else has done in the past. So yeah, it's wild. Like, I don't know where traditional marketing in terms of like paid targeted ads fits into the picture for like small and medium-sized businesses in the upcoming years. Cause it's just not as effective as what you could do on your own, creating cool stuff like Colton, like doing, like reviewing wild legal cases. Like what's the latest one that you did?
Shoot. I don't even know. I haven't done one in a minute because I batched a bunch and I've been bad at posting, but I've done like, last video I posted, I think was it legal to own a sloth?
Let's take a look. So if you go to Colton the Lawyer, if you go to Colton the Lawyer on Instagram.
Oh, Alec Baldwin. That was an old one from me.
So,
see, there you go. What a good piece of media.
Yeah,
like a lawyer's perspective.
Big old one.
Is it legal to own a sloth? You got some hilarious videos on here.
Yeah. Depends on the ordinances in the city.
There was one. Should you spank another kid? Like if you're a teacher, right? Or should you like?
I feel like that hasn't been allowed for a while.
Yeah, and
Can you do it, Colton? Are you allowed to?
It depends on the situation. Most like if you're a teacher, like in Oklahoma, they still have corporal punishment that is legal.
Whoa.
So they technically can't. So
You heard it from a lawyer, everybody.
not legal advice.
There's
Disclaimer.
There's one you did about getting a free lawyer,
Oh yeah, that one did pretty well.
or DWI for sleeping in your car.
Yeah.
I heard about that one. You watch Cops enough, you learn some some interesting things.
Wow.
But like the way that let's say like the way that you promote, market, advertise, whatever your service is, you're more of like providing value to what people are just quirkily interested in, right? In a quirky way.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, well, this guy, Mike could help me. Like he seems knowledgeable or whatever, like just by watching a few of your videos, and you stay up to date with some of the things that are happening as well.
Yep, I try to stay top of mind, and that's one thing, Chris, I admire about you is like I try to make shorter videos, but one thing I've noticed about yours is they're relatively longer. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, oh, make the 7-second thing. So then you can, recycle it, and there's a longer watch time, and it's better for organic, and everyone's trying to trick the algorithms.
Yeah, and also just retaining for that amount of time as well.
Yeah, you can't trick algorithms. So it's a bad strategy. I mean, I don't make longer content so that it's longer. I just try to, any given concept, it's how long does this need to be in order to cover what I need to say? And can I do that efficiently enough so that like it's interesting from start to finish? I mean, I'd do a 10-minute video if I needed to on TikTok. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Like retaining information, it's just about whether or not like you're being efficient with what you're telling people. It's not like a strategy decision or trying to hack the algorithm. What is interesting though, is as TikTok is like maturing and as these platforms are like sort of jostling for position in order to make their space attractive for creators are going to where they're getting paid for views. So TikTok has experimented with this a little bit. Instagram keeps slapping creators in the face on this front. 'Cause like they do have I think they canceled it. They had a creator fund, but the creator fund, you weren't eligible for it if you had over 1 million followers, which is silly because like that's kind of where things start to get interesting, is 500,000 to 1 million followers. So why would you put in the effort if once you hit the goals, you're then kicked out of the opportunity to make some money? But when you look at TikTok and short form content, I think the platform in general, when we're talking about hacking the algorithm, is going to be moving away from trending sounds, the short videos, because those are not monetizable for the platform. Like you can't be paying out tons of money for a 7-second video that got 1 billion views or 500 million views or 100 million views or whatever, because it's not long enough retention to make it make sense. I mean, granted, you're getting paid for the ad that they're going to run behind that video, but I think that
that makes sense.
Yeah, I try not to shoot for like specific lengths, unless you're talking about YouTube Shorts where you only have 60 seconds.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was talking to him today, and I was like, "Do you feel like some of these trends, like the audio trends, are not doing as well?" And I was telling him the only one I've seen recently is the Muffin Man one
from Shrek.
It was.
Is that where the sound came from?
I think Adam Lambert was on Jimmy Fallon or something and was singing, "Do you know the Muffin?" I'm not going to do it because I would embarrass myself completely. It looks like, yeah, you just had it up.
Was that it?
Yeah, right there on the right. No. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, there it is. And it just keeps popping up on my feed. And now it's annoying. But so what I'm hearing you say is like things like that going downhill, and more generic, and not generic, but more
Kind of like what I was saying, like quit trying to cheat the algorithm, because there's a whole team dedicated to modifying the algorithm on a daily, weekly, monthly, or whatever quarterly basis. And you're going to try to outsmart it. Like, good luck. Make content that's unique to you, that
there you go, that
aligns with people and what people care about. And don't try to sell something, because it's not like people are always, if you can align with what their problem is, if you can align with what they care about, then they like you. And if they don't like you, then try to fix something. Try to fix like the words that you're saying, or the style of it, or whatever it is, or maybe show an example. Like, think outside the box, right?
And especially if you're batching content, I feel like trends kind of come and go so fast that it's really hard to batch content while staying on top of trends.
Well, I think that's where, like, once a week, you could design or record a couple extra videos for that week or for the following week to try to stay on the whole trends conversation. But outside of that, like, you still have like your own style. Like Colton has his style of videos. He could batch 30 of those out a month, sit down for a whole day, record 30 of them, and then, let those run for the next 60 days. And then every month you do that, and you're always ahead on trends and stuff. Or I'm sorry, not trends, but your style, like what your pages are about, right?
I hope it doesn't take me a day.
Or however long it takes you. I don't know how long it takes you to record all those, but
like 2 hours, an hour.
That's not bad.
No.
One?
No, that's like 20 to 30 for an hour.
That's fair. Yeah.
Just knock them out. I script them before.
How do you do all that, Chris?
Just the way that Colton described it.
Yeah.
He should be teaching me how to do this.
No, I got a whole 3,000 followers on TikTok. My wife's doing better than me.
That's the way. And when it comes to like efficiently producing content, that's the way. Like, you script it out ahead of time, so that way you know exactly what you're going to say. So it's not like wordy and silly and dumb, and you batch them, I'll do 15 or 20 in 45 minutes. Yeah,
that's one thing I'm taking away from you, is because I tried to make like legal concepts as simple as I could, and there's always exceptions, but I'd make them so simple that they fit in 15 seconds up to 30 seconds. But now, after this, if it takes a little longer, I'm gonna let it go, and then we'll see how the retention goes. So that's some good advice from you.
What do you guys think that business owners should take away at this point? Like, if I'm a small business, let's say I'm a landscaping company. I have let's say at least 5 to 10 employees. Like, I'm small business, right? Like, I'm maybe $500 to $1 million mark, which is so commonly here in the U.S., right? That kind of point where they haven't hit the 30 employee mark, to where that they've got maybe investors or anything like that. So, in this whole aspect of things where we're at so far, what, as a business owner, do you guys think I should take away?
I think a lot of people overcomplicate making videos. I think, like, when you put something out, of course you want it to be perfect. You want it to be perceived the right way, but you don't need like a fancy camera or all this editing, like ASMR videos that are just sped up. Like, they do really well as long as you can sit through the whole thing and it doesn't get boring. I just feel like there's a lot of people that really, really overcomplicate things, and they just don't see the results they want because they put too much of like the sales focus on it, on like content.
Fair enough.
I think, which I need to do a better job at, is just documenting the process. Just in and out of your day. For most businesses, like landscaping, for me, I try to do it when I go to court and everything. Just take some short videos and talk about what I'm doing that day, because people like that stuff.
Maria?
Why do they like it?
It's a good question. I haven't thought about that.
I think it's because the people don't really get it, right? I don't think a lot of people have really.
Curiosity.
Majority of people don't go through court on a daily basis.
Not everyone's
right?
like a lawyer. Yeah, what he's saying.
Yeah.
Most people aren't lawyers, so it's kind of cool to be like.
It's kind of like watching Cops.
Yeah, like, oh, I wonder what my life would be like if, kind of that type of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's why the POVs do so well.
Yeah, that's, gosh dang. I need to do more of them, because for me, it's just like, just going to court, another DUI, or
one of my editors, they were like, just record yourself and the things that you do throughout the day, and I'll make some like recap stuff, and then we can make a voiceover sound about whatever happened. You can explain that week or that day or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to do more. I need to do better.
You're not doing enough.
Apparently. Chris can just ask me one question. I'd be like, oh, crap. But no, that's a good question. Why do they like it? I'm going to remember that.
I think business owners should take out like the excuses they make sometimes and just be invested in discipline. Because I feel like even 15 minutes of recording and what you're doing, what you said, that gives you a lot of content and a lot to work with just by adding audio and doing like a good video edit. And then you have a video that you can upload. So just be more disciplined and invest it on what you're doing and just do it. Because I feel sometimes we think about it too much.
And that's one of the behaviors that we've been kind of touching on. And that's, where I really highlight on what Chris's video, some of his videos have touched on in the last few months is it doesn't have to be like, and the way that people want to consume the content isn't ads. They want to see what the behind the scenes are like. They want to see what the process is like. They want to know what's behind the curtain, then they can feel like they can trust you more. And I feel like a lot of business decisions are based on trust and emotion, right? And so they almost kind of align with each other. You don't want to buy from someone unless you feel like you can trust them. If it's a service-based business, especially if it's a product, you still have to trust that this is going to work for me. And you're still going to make an emotional decision. You're going to feel excited and happy hopefully to buy it, and if not, then there's your purchasing decision to not buy it. But
yeah, Chris, another question. It looks like you've done some, I call it newsjacking, taking hot topics, news and everything. How have you seen that? Have you seen success from that, and in what ways?
Well, before we talk about that, we should probably talk about what was just discussed here, which is like, what can small businesses take away from this?
Oh yeah.
Because we touched on some like really nice things, but small business that just listened to this discussion is still like, well, what am I supposed to be making? And how do I know this is going to make people feel a certain way? To build trust, to get them to watch all the way through? Like, this is really where people miss the mark. It's like, we know we're supposed to be creating content and disciplined and making videos every day. And it just takes a couple minutes and like, let's record what we do. But out of all the stuff that we're doing, what do we record and why? Like, okay, well, we're supposed to be coming up with ideas that like entertain people and all this stuff, but what's entertaining? Like, why is it entertaining? If that can't be defined and outlined and like articulated, you're just going to be spinning wheels. So this is where most people make the big mistake, in my opinion, is like a piece of media needs to make people feel something. When we're scrolling through these apps, whether it's Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, or TikTok, the big one. No. We're scrolling and saying, no. I'll watch that one later. So we save it. No. This one's good. So what makes people stop and scroll? It's what they feel within the first second or two of landing on a piece of media. And this is how you get people to watch a 3 or 5 minute video about something that is boring, how to get people to pay attention to what you post on social media. And so whether it's an ASMR process of you laying concrete, or you talking about what goes into building a 500 story skyscraper, or whatever it is you do, we have to tap into some things that people use in a split, like the decision-making process that people make in a split second. So one of the things that's important to ask yourself when creating media, like, we don't want to just start shooting and say, we're going to turn this into something later, because then there's no purpose behind what we're actually capturing. And that's a nightmare for Mr. Editor, who has to go through hours worth of footage to try to make something work. Instead, we need to ask ourselves, like, okay, what is going to cause somebody to save, like, or share a video? And if they do the magic swipe right on our account, how does this video fit within the whole? Like, does this make for a bingeable account? Because if I get the magic swipe right on a really great video and people start to scroll, like, you have to ask yourself, okay, what if somebody had to watch my next 20 videos? Are they going to get the same experience? And we create that experience by tapping into like the two core ingredients to viral content. On one side, we have the concept of universally understood themes. These are things that resonate with people regardless of language, race, religion, region, politics. This is why cute dog videos work so well, like cute little kids. In an instant, we can see a stranger being kind to someone who doesn't look like them on the street. And regardless of where we are in the world, that hits us. We can see like a team of landscapers like this. It can, for a landscape company, this is the difference between tilting your camera angle down and showing you like paving a driveway versus lifting that camera up so that you see the $30 million house in the background. Because one of those is just putting down some concrete and showing a process. And the other is the universally understood fact that this build and this project is different and special. In a split second, that happens within the brain. Like we make that connection. So when a small business is thinking about like, what do we create? We've got to ask like, what is going to convey the maximum amount of information in the first second or two of a video? And this is what people talk about when they talk about hooks. Like, oh, give 10 tips, give 3 facts, give value, give this, give that. But we can't give the value unless we give a feeling first. And we have a fraction of a second to make that happen. So, sorry for that rant.
No, what
this is always glossed over when businesses especially are like, what should we make? Like, how do we get sales? How do we drive revenue? Like, that's a wrong question to be asking. The question is, what can you make? And how do you present that in the first opening scene of what you're making so that people feel something, so that they resonate with a universally understood theme within what you're producing?
So what
makes sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah. What emotions do you shoot for, and how do you decide based on the brand or type of video? How do you make that decision?
So the part of the brain that's active when we're scrolling, nope. This one said we're super funny. Like we're looking at a couple of things. I mean, obviously the like count matters. How many comments a video has matters. Like we use that to make that decision. But the part of the brain that's active is the amygdala. It's the fight or flight response portion of the brain. And that part of the brain makes decisions in a split second. When we're presented with danger, we have to decide, like, is it safer to muscle through this or get out of here? And that part of the brain is super old and it's not logical. And because it's designed to pay attention to danger as the priority to preserve your safety, negative connotation is one of the better ways to capture attention. And there's also themes within like money and power and sex that trigger a person to pay attention to something. So that example that I gave of like, if you're a concrete company and you have a multi-million-dollar home that you're working on pouring concrete, you don't want to turn the camera down because it's just concrete. But when we tilt it up, there's implications of money, power, exclusivity. Like that house is going to speak to people on some level, even if they don't realize it. And if you need proof of this, like we're really interested in nice houses. That's why MTV Cribs worked so well. And we're redoing the same stuff today with TikTok because there's the kid that goes around and is like, oh, nice house. Can I come in for a tour? Oh yeah, come on inside. And like we see people's opulence. This is why people watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, because this is power and money that we can only experience vicariously through the media that we're consuming. And so it's about power and money, even though you could just say, well, no, it's just a nice house, but it has like implications beyond that. But that's besides the question of what you asked. So the primary emotion that we can dial into is negativity and fear. We don't have to be negative in our video, but that's kind of the first emotion we want to tap into if we can. So I'll give you an example. I give this as an example a lot so that people can be like, because a lot of people are like, well, I'm not negative. Our business is positive. Our brand is positive. That's cool. We can still have a positive message with a negative connotation in our opening statement. So if I want people to be healthy by growing their produce at home, I could start a video with a positive connotation. like, yo, you guys can save hundreds of dollars every month and eat better food if you grow a hydroponic garden at home. That's a positive connotation. But it's just like the Geico commercials, right? Where you could save 15% or more on your car insurance. Okay, if you're going to save that 15%, what's the next step that you have to do, Brandon?
I got to make a phone call.
What do you have to do? Make a phone call, and then what happens?
Contact form. Then
okay, we're on the phone call. I'm Geico. Okay, Brandon, where's your health insurance right now?
I don't have any. I do.
You don't have any? Oh, okay, well, okay, that doesn't matter. How about who has your auto insurance?
Mercury.
Mercury. Okay, how about your home insurance?
Mercury.
Okay, Mercury. And how about like your kid's life insurance?
Let's say State Farm.
Well, shit, like we got to call all these different companies to get it all under one roof. Like, is it worth the 15% you're saving? There's work implied behind that statement.
I feel like a lot of people do that too, because they get sold by all these different companies. You know what I mean? So like they've got their kids this, their life insurance that, their health insurance this or whatever. And so
it complicates things.
With me, I like to have one guy take care of all. I've got 2 or 3 people that take care of all of it. That's it. So one's life insurance, one's health insurance, and the other one's business and personal insurance. Like that's it. So I've got three contacts. That's it.
See, now we're getting off into the weeds here because like the opportunity to save money, like it's not compelling enough. Now here we take that same exact statement, that same exact message of the hydroponic garden being a good investment. You're losing hundreds of dollars every month by shopping for your produce from the grocery store, and you might be poisoning yourself because of all the pesticides that you don't know about what's going in there. You can fix this by just growing your food at home. It's super easy. This is my hydroponic garden. I know what went into these vegetables. It's always fresh, and you can get it started for as little as like $150 and never pay for produce again. Because you're
which I do.
Sold.
Yeah, I do have.
Yeah, you're losing money every time you shop for produce at the grocery store. It hits differently.
Yeah,
because the amygdala is always filtering like what's relevant to me and what's not, and so it's still a super positive message though.
Yeah,
it's just like a little nuance in phrasing. So there's like all these like little tools and tactics that we can do to do that, but it's really about how you make someone feel in the first second or two.
I feel like
we were at Active Cairo, and you know how I was like, we should make a reel where we just lay on the roller bed. They've got this cool laser light and this ambiance in their roller table room. If you've ever been to a chiropractic office, right? And it's blue and it's calming and it's peaceful. I was like, let's figure out something to do with this. I don't know what yet, but I was like, I lay here in this roller table and I feel relaxed and I feel at peace and I feel taken care of. And I'm like, this could be an intro to something. I don't know what, or maybe this could be the whole thing or whatever it is. But I was like, that's the kind of feeling I want when I go to my chiropractor. I want to feel relaxed. I want to feel taken care of. I want to feel healthy, right? You were going to say something before I was rudely interrupted.
No, you're fine. To the negative kind of, I don't remember the phrasing you used, negative connotation. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I feel like I've been seeing that a lot just with like products. Like people will start a video, like for example, lotion, like don't get this lotion and it's one of the swipes if you want like soft skin, it to smell like it's very blatantly obvious what they're doing. But I feel like those videos are doing so well right now, just like product wise. It just made me think of that example.
I've seen the TikTok shop come out, speaking of products, where people are making those product videos, and now like it says affiliate or commission available, or it says something like that now at the bottom, right? Or how like on the Amazon feed, have you seen that there's an Inspire feed on Amazon now?
I saw that the other day.
Those TikTok style videos. You know,
I need to start doing that because I order so much stuff. Yeah. I could be making bank right now. You just
unbox it and be like, oh, this thing is cool, or no, this thing is complete crap and I don't like it, and don't buy it. Yeah. You get paid for it regardless.
Yeah. That's such a good idea for Amazon.
Yeah. That's funny.
Is that the...
But anyway.
Do you go for any other emotions?
I mean, yeah, like we don't have to just go after negativity, but like other emotions like are a little bit harder to elicit when we're talking about like a brand, product, or service, and it requires getting creative. So like, I mean, an example of positive emotion, I don't know if you guys like follow Jimmy Darts. He's the kindness content guy.
He's yes. I didn't know his name. I've seen him.
it's sort of becoming a controversial space because now people are like exploiting people in need so they can grow their social reach. But Jimmy Darts, I think, is one of the first people to do this. And it was just like all about like helping strangers. And so, but even he, like, if you look at some of his most viewed videos, like one of them, he's like in Walmart, like walking around with paints and he's like, can I paint your face? Can I give you a free face painting? And it's just like so bizarre that it's like, it's not negative, but it fits into this universally understood themes category where it's like universally it's understood that this is an odd scenario. Like, what is happening? Can I paint your face?
Yeah, I don't
like
know
he's
if
got
I
this like palette
yes.
of paints.
I saw that one the other day.
Yeah. So then the guy that says yes, we like, we watch to see what happens. And then when somebody finally says yes, we're like, okay, this is the most patient person in the world. And then we get to see the money and charity that Jimmy Darts bestows upon this man. And it's like this big, thing. And like, if you have a product, I guess you could give away the product, and use the kindness content framework on that. But like, I mean, all viral videos elicit some emotion on some level. And very rarely do you have things go viral that don't fit a universally understood theme or that don't trigger or elicit a positive or negative emotion right away. But usually positive emotions are derived from a negative emotion felt first. So like if you think about this, like human beings have been producing and consuming the same story for thousands of years, all the way back to the Iliad and the Odyssey. It's a hero's descent into darkness and then rise. Right? Like all the movies we love is that, and the rise, like the victory matters because of what we experience with this like character or set of characters in the first half. And so on short form content, like it's no different. Like it's much easier to start on a down note and then come up than start up here and maintain.
It's easier to tell a story that way. From here to there, from A to Z. Pitch in.
Yeah.
I do have a question. So what would you recommend for content creators that are growing in TikTok on how to just grow? Because I myself, I have grew mine. I have like 1,600 followers, but I'm stuck in there. And I want to basically be more towards the mental health, fitness, and just lifestyle. But I just don't know how to grow because it's just stuck. And I am sure that many people are in that stage. What would you recommend?
Yeah. So with your 1,600 followers and the views that you've gotten, what are the videos that always perform best?
Okay. So I'm a Latina. So basically are more towards this artist that is very famous, like using his audios, Bad Bunny, or even I have uploaded routines, but I think because I'm not a fitness influencer, I have not received those yet really good. So it would be more of the audios using the Bad Bunny songs and more personal lifestyle things, like things where I have been very personal, where I show myself crying and how I've grew out from that.
Okay. Is that what we want the account to be as it grows? Is the Bad Bunny songs and very heavy emotional topics?
Yes, because I do want to do the mental health towards that mental health area. And Bad Bunny is just showing like kind of more of the Latina, because I still want to do the mental health, but still staying as, hey, I'm Latina, I speak Spanish, like, both ways.
Okay. So the reason that we want to have what I call home base to go to, we need to find that in order for the account to grow. And home base are the types of videos that you've identified always knock it out of the park. It's like, oh, okay, I know every time I do one of these, what would you call the type of post where you're very emotional on camera? Like, do you have a name for that? Like, have you articulated what that is, that approach?
I would say personal growth.
Personal growth. Okay. So personal growth might be one of these like pillars of home base. So what you want to do is you want to start with, we need to know what's going to work consistently in order for an account to grow, so that we can consistently post what packs the biggest punch. And the only way to figure out what works consistently is to guess and test. So we've got personal growth. We've got, what are the other types of videos that you're making right now? That are working, or that you would like to make that you wished worked.
The fitness routines, like doing my protein, get ready to go to the gym and all that stuff. Like because right now I used to be more fit, not right now, but I want to start that and just show that journey, until like showing that discipline throughout and through that process where I want to reach, so that whole process.
Have you ever tried like fitness journey, like day 1 out of 50, like kind of doing a challenge? I feel like a lot of times, just personally, when I see those, like you go to that page just to see like, did this work? Did she finish? How far did she eat? Kind of like that thing. I feel like that's a good way to get people onto your page and want to follow you, because then they'll be pushed your videos and they'll be able to see like, what's she doing now, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a really great idea from Maddie. So what we need to do is we need to come up with more of these ideas. So we've got your personal growth, your fitness routines, the fitness journey, Maddie's idea. You could also start doing fitness tips and nutrition. Now, we don't know which of these categories are going to work. We need to guess and assume, okay, well, like what content pillars can I build on and see what people like? And for like, this is what I do is usually I give myself 50 posts, which usually takes 4 to 6 weeks. And I'm going to create 50 posts within 5 of these topics that I'm making an assumption about. I'm going to try to make that content as good as I possibly can make it. Some of them are personal growth. Some of them are fitness routines. Some of them is documenting the fitness journey. And as I create that, I'm just going to focus on like, how do I make this as good as I possibly can to maximize views? How do I storytell? How do I be genuine? How do I make this interesting? And then at the end of those 50 pieces of media, we need to look back and be like, okay, which are the categories that performed the best? Maybe it's your personal growth stories, and maybe it's just fitness tips, and the other ones didn't really perform. So we cut those other ones, we introduce some new assumptions, and then we go again, because you need to come to a spot where you know what type of videos are always going to hit it out of the park. And you don't have to live there, and that doesn't have to become your account. But that way, if you like just have an idea and you create content around it and it goes and it doesn't perform at all, you're like, well, that's okay, because that's not part of like my home base, my content pillars. Like I know that that's not what's driving my account, so I don't need to stress about it. And if you ever get into trouble or like you feel like views are down, you have these content verticals that you can always come back to that you've identified through trial and error. So like I have a series that I call How to Ruin a Brand. And it didn't start being called How to Ruin a Brand, but this came from this exact process that I described to you. And now every time I do a How to Ruin a Brand video, it does 1 million views plus. It's like if I come back from a break or a vacation or whatever, or like my views are like kind of weird, I do a How to Ruin a Brand video and it's 1 or 2 million views or more. And I figured that out this way. Like I had no idea that would work. Originally it was called Dumb Things That Brands Do when I was like testing these out, and I refined it and formulated it. But like, that's where we need to start, is make some assumptions, see if anything is there. The verticals that are not working, you cut those, you double down on the things that do, and you introduce some more so that you have a handful that you know are going to work really, really well over time. And then you go, and that's how you grow. And for some people, this takes longer to dial in than others, but like, everyone I've worked with and everyone I've talked to that has like seen massive numbers, this is the process. Like if you look at Jimmy Darts, the kindness content dude, his first post had nothing to do with kindness content. It was like travel vlogging. It was really weird. It wasn't who we think of today when we think of Jimmy Darts. But he worked it out on his own. Now, whether he used this exact process, I don't know, but it was a variation of this.
Okay.
I got to look up his account.
So
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
you kind of touched on like not fully niching down, but like what's your, I know when TikTok first started, it was all about like find your niche, don't do anything else, like only post about this. What's your opinion on like just that whole conversation?
That's a good question. What do you guys think? I don't know.
Send come back. Maybe make a video about it and tag Maddie.
There you go.
If you think that's a good question, I guess there's a piece of content, huh?
I mean, if it's a business account, for sure, stick to your niche. If you're the face of the brand or you're doing this on your own, like, I mean, I've shifted directions multiple times, and on TikTok, at least, it's pretty easy to pivot.
Oh yeah.
Because your stuff is shown to strangers on the For You page. So it's easy to experiment and move in different directions as you evolve as a person. And so I actually do have an answer for that. We just talked about dialing into, 4 or 5 content verticals. Mm-hmm. I don't want to like just create within those verticals. Like I identified how to ruin a brand videos are worth 1 million views plus to me. Consistently they are. But I don't want to be the how to ruin a brand guy, because that's not my business. That's not even me. Like that's a facet of what I do, and what I help businesses with is to do the opposite of that. But if you are too narrow in your niche and live there for too long, you kind of box yourself in. And at some point, many creators have to like sort of break out of the prison that they've created for themselves, whether to grow the business or to move in a different direction. So if you identify what works for you, the content pillars, I like to think about that as like pillars holding up a roof, like a marketplace that is your brand and your business. So that's what draws people in, so they can see the other videos that you produce that maybe don't get those same level of views. My average views for a video is like 30 to 50,000 views that aren't part of my content verticals, but those serve me really well. And people come into those because of the videos that just like knock it out of the park. And so, yeah, I mean, I want to stay within my zone of expertise. But if you think about an archery target with the bullseye being like a hyper specific niche, we really want to live in the rings outside of that. Yeah, that's where we want to create content.
That's a great explanation.
Like for those content creators that just create ASMR videos with their slime, that's it. That's very, very specific.
He's got slime on the brand.
And how do you monetize that? What's the monetization strategy for that? Like, how do you make money?
Well, the point is that people order the slime.
But are that many people ordering the slime?
I don't know.
You said you didn't.
It's gotta be crazy.
I was like, how many boxes of slime have you ordered? You were like, I don't know. I need to order some. I haven't yet.
I'm on the mug.
I know my boy. It'd be a good like Christmas present, I guess, for my boys to get a bunch of slime thing. But that's it. Like, how often would you order it? And how many people are wanting that one product? So it's like one of those.
You can make it too.
Well, yeah.
Isn't it pretty easy to make?
Yeah, it's pretty. You can go buy a kit at Hobby Lobby, $15. Make it at home.
How many kits have you bought?
Several, actually. Yes. I've bought several. I've done it. I hate slime. It's sticky, and it does. The little chunks wind up in different places, and it's actually stuck in the carpet in one of my boys' bedrooms. Yes, 2.
How old are they?
8 and 9.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Your house is wild.
Yeah, and I got a little girl coming in 2 weeks, so.
Oh, dude, congratulations.
Thanks.
That is awesome.
I'm excited. Everyone's telling me
I have 3 kids too.
they're all like,
gonna be fine.
They're like, you're gonna have your she gonna be wrapped around your finger. And people are like, get her everything that she wants and anything that she needs. No man's gonna come up later on in her life and treat her better than you will. All these dads are like, you treat your daughter better than any other man possibly ever could. And, like, she'll wind up all right. It's funny. Oh my God. And my fiance, she's like, well, don't do that. She's going to wind up spoiled and unappreciative. I'm like, I'm going to take care of my baby. She's going to be spoiled.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's funny.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And moving next weekend as well. Life all at once.
Wow.
I know. Not by choice. All right. Any wrap up thoughts? Like thoughts, comments, concerns, haikus?
No, I appreciate the advice, Chris. That's great.
Yeah.
I second that.
It's a little out of context. There's a lot to unpack there, but
Yeah. Because you could sit
Those
here
are
all
some
day
of-
and talk about this stuff.
we could chat all day long. But those are the big ones. Those are the things that like really move the needle. So how do you figure out what works? Well, you got to guess and check. And, why does it work? Well, it's like things that speak to us on a level that we're not even consciously processing.
And as creators, you have to actually figure that part out and understand how it all works. And if you're a business owner doing it yourself, you still have to understand that. Or hopefully that you hire someone to help you with it.
Yeah.
They have to understand.
I mean, it's a $1 million problem that you're cracking though, because it literally translates into millions of dollars worth of leads and sales when you get it right. Just because you didn't buy the slime doesn't mean there's not hundreds of thousands of people out there buying the slime.
So true. There's a guy.
I mean, maybe that does convert really well. Yeah, it's really cool. We're living in the future. Like things are changing so fast and the opportunity is insane. Like I was thinking about this last night. Like just think about this. We live in a world where you literally can reach millions of people by just spending a few minutes on a piece of creative. Whereas like 100 years ago, no one was even seen by 1 million people in their entire life. If you combine all of the people that saw even celebrities, there's probably not many people that were even seen by 1 million people or had 1 million people aware of them. Like handfuls of people throughout history had that kind of reach. And it's just so wild. It's like so wild that like, I mean, we're living in the future.
You could walk out to
and AI is about to take it all away from us.
Yeah.
So enjoy it while you can.
But really.
And Joe could walk out into his backyard and make a piece of content about his grass. And now 1 million people have seen him. Yeah.
It's like that, what was it? That truck with dirt in it on Facebook. It was the same picture. It was just a pile of dirt. That's what the account was called. They post it every day.
I couldn't believe it.
Millions
There's this
of
Facebook.
likes.
There's this business on Facebook. They just post piles of dirt every day. Like every day, it's just a pile of dirt. Hey, that's for sale. And there was nothing fancy, and we weren't sponsored ads to find it. I don't know how we found it.
It was so.
And they have tens of thousands of people like that have liked or commented or shared. Like, it was insane. It was like 53,000 on a couple of them that I remember seeing. I was like, how is that happening? And people
See, there's
like,
weird things like that don't make sense. That
an anomaly.
we don't really want to think about too hard.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I give up. I'm done. Here, it's funny. Yeah. Well, Chris and you guys, if you don't have any final thoughts, we're going to wrap up then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I appreciate you joining us to have the conversation. And I know a lot of people are, also having this similar kind of conversation and these thoughts of like, how can I apply this stuff to my business and how does it work and how do I grow? And, you made a really good example that I think if anyone took away was, come up with 3 to 5 topics or categories, make some really good content around those, trial and error those for about 30 to 60 days and recycle the ones, continue to make content about the ones that really took off, that did well, trash the ones that didn't, and continue to come up with some new ideas about every, 30 to 90 days, right? And kind of recycle that and you'll continue to grow as that performs. So, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would just be careful that you don't put the day limit on it because it's really about number of instances. So if you're only posting once a week, it's going to take you a lot longer. Like you want 50 pieces of content with 10 in each of those categories that you made an assumption about, because you could have, fitness tips, Maria, that you put out to people and your first 7 videos might just be total flops, but you're building the muscle across all those categories. So you never know if your 8th and 9th videos are the ones that go viral, that indicate, oh, maybe I have something here. So You got to make sure that you're going all the way through with it. And it's about number of posts. Like usually patterns start to emerge at around 10 posts in an individual category. But yeah, you got it. Like that's the way to figure it out. So that way you're not just like, because I'll leave with this. There's nothing worse than a video going viral and you're like, why is this happening and what do I do? How do I capture this? I don't know what's happening, or a video going viral that is like Maria one day deciding to, she drives by that pile of dirt and does a workout pose on it. And that's the one that works. Oh shit. Like now I have to be the dirt workout account,
That's funny.
So yeah, you want to have some thought ahead of time and like be not meticulous, but methodical about it. But anyway, yeah.
That's fair
There
enough.
we go. Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. And I continue to share your videos from time to time, and I like all your stuff. So you make good content. Appreciate it too. So
Thank you.
I support you. If there's anything you need from me or my crew, let me know. Vice versa. So
And where are you guys at? What are all the handles for your accounts?
We're in
Maddie.
Tulsa.
We'll go in order of how you are on my screen. So I've got Maddie. What's your handle on TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram, Maddie with 3 Ds. Christine, Chrisistine. And Maddie,
Okay.
Maddie is spelled Maddie.
Okay. And you're just on wrong. Instagram?
Yeah.
Your TikTok is the Bujo.
Bullet, yeah, I have a bullet journal
on TikTok. Yeah. I think she does a great job with those.
Oh, thank you.
And how about you, Maria?
In Instagram, I am Mafer, MAFER _ZERON. And let me get back to you with my TikTok because I don't know my username.
Oh, okay. And how about you, Colton?
Super complicated. Colton, COLTON, the lawyer.
Okay. And then Braden.
Mine is the same on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. It's the Sooner CEO. SOONER. Yeah.
CEO. Cool. I'll look you guys up.
Sweet.
We'll be
yeah,
there.
mine's the same on everything, so wasn't taken.
You guys need to work on those.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, cool. It was awesome meeting everybody. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you guys on my FYP in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you're going to get retargeted. And thanks all you guys for listening. And if you guys have any questions, make some comments. Feel free to send me an email. Look in the footer of the podcast episodes, whether you're listening on iHeart, Spotify, Spreaker, SoundCloud, whatever have you. All my information's down there. So if you got questions, ideas or topics or ideas for the next episodes coming up, hit me up. Let me know. If you got any questions for the rest of us, I can put you in touch. And thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
Peace.
Bye.